Now this is a completely unprofessional presentation, whereas this is a slightly unprofessional presentation. So there's a difference. All right, so there is something else. Now, mind you, yes, normally you'd see the whiteboard. Um, yeah, I did an episode where I revisited the branding of, first person tutor. So just by example, yeah. So yeah, man of my word, right? So the person that you are talking to is, the one above formerly one PT, right? Right. So yeah, I show better than I tell, right? That's me. I show better than I tell. Now, why am I making this video? Am I gonna make it a 9 minute video? Probably. Probably gonna do that. Let's do the 9 minutes. See the Sith coming? You hear that noise? Just listen to that. Just listen to that. Yeah. Yeah. See, no, look at that crap. You see that? Somebody could have told me, Somebody could have told me. Oh, God. It's fine. It's fine. The next time you see me, I'm slapping that off. Yeah, because I'm not even gonna get into it anyway. So what am I saying to you? Yup, I show better than I tell. Yeah. No, don't know if I got all of that, but yeah, it's fine. I'll figure it out. Anyway, what was I saying? So you remember what I was telling you about the Jedi and the Sith? Yeah, you see, there's a light and a dark. There's a bitter with the sweet, right? Always the bitter with the sweet. So the question is, what's the other aspect of being a content creator, like the untold truths of being the CCO, the content creator opportunist, the content creator? What's the untold truth about it, or an uncomfortable truth, or what should be an obvious uncomfortable truth? What is it really? No. What should be an obvious uncomfortable truth is that every day you're going to be at war with your imagination. Remember what I said? You suffer more from imagination than reality. You are going to be of the opinion that because you're not seeing the views, you're not seeing the likes, you're not seeing the shares, you're not seeing the numbers, because the work that you do comes across as invisible, like nobody cares, like it's not relevant, and it's not, it's not picking up traction. Yeah, you're gonna start telling yourself things. You're going to say, well, nobody cares. No, it's not a nobody cares. Yeah, but you just have to know. You have to figure out, oh, when I did this font, there were more people looked at it. Versus when I use this font, nobody cared. Ain't nobody trying to read that. So sometimes you can look at, subtleties, minor differences. I'll be like, wait, so people like it when you do this, but not that? People like it when you do that, but not this? So, you're going to be at war with your own imagination a lot of the time. Sometimes it's reality, sometimes it's not. And sometimes you're attacked by the enemy of the Autobots. Listen to that. Yeah. There's that. So, moral of the story is that you're going to, again, be at war with your own imagination. You have Russ. Russ is a very dope independent artist, one of the best. If there's anybody to listen to when it comes to getting advice about being an up and comer and all of these things, he's like, if you don't have a studio in your house, you're BSing. You don't want it that bad, because you can't get as many sessions as I can get in. Or if you have a car, set up a studio in your vehicle, set up a studio in your house. So that's the kind of person you listen to when it comes to, if you're an up and coming artist, you listen to Russ. Yeah. Now, when it comes to businesses, I suppose you can listen to Mr. Hormozy and I guess Myron Golden and Gary Vee, right? But more to this point that I'm telling you, the idea of the bitter with the sweet, the light with the dark, the Jedi with the Sith. The reason why you have to pay attention to that duality is because you're going to be at war with what's up here. You're going to be discouraged. There's a lot of discouragement that's going to be in the way of you and what you want out of your content creation, out of your business, out of anything that you're trying to do. Remember what you saw all the videos, right? I gave you the demonstration. You saw the visual. Yeah. So you have to go through a lot of dark so that the light can take up most of the map. For those of you who played Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos and Frozen Throne, when you explore more of the map, the fog dissipates. So that's something that you're gonna have to practice. You're gonna have to practice saying, hey, guess what? I have to be in a good mood. I have to continue regardless of how I feel. Now I can tell you a story. There was an incident that resulted in me not having access to some of my clothes, two of my whiteboards, and tables and chairs and that sort of thing. It was a disagreement regarding the rental agreement and the fact that I didn't have the money and all of these things. And as a result of that, I was locked out of the place and prevented from getting access to the things that I use to make my videos. And you look at things like that and you just say, you know what, just keep trucking. Because when people go out of their way to sabotage you, look at their life. They're not going anywhere anyway. So, make them have it. And when you have the money, give them back the money, and then you take back your things and never speak to them again. Because that's how I operate. You know what? If you have demonstrated the capacity to sabotage me on purpose, then the worst thing is, these are the same people that stalk you online. They will see your life and jump into your life right after them disrespect you and things like that. So, it's very strange. And again, the Sith. The Sith are here. The bitter is here. So the darkness is the fight that you're going to get from external forces. But there's a fight that you have with yourself that you need to win. Yeah, there's a fight with yourself that you need to win. You ever heard about Dark Link in Legend of Zelda 2 on the golden cartridge? Way back in the Nintendo days when they went from the top-down view to the side-scrolling view? Yeah. There was a boss called Dark Link. You fought the dark version of yourself. There's an episode of Samurai Jack where Jack had to fight the dark version of himself. And he chose benevolence to defeat him. And did away with his anger. And the dark version of him just exploded and disappeared. So that's a war that you have to fight every single day. The war with your imagination. We suffer more from imagination than reality. We suffer more from the genjutsu. We suffer more from the Kyoku, Suigetsu. Yeah, from the Naruto and the Bleach. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah? So, that is my moral of the story. Yeah? So yeah, I guess that's another episode of Sup with Bro, right? A slightly unprofessional presentation with Bossman Rambling On. And of course, I will tell you, I will show that die when I die. I will show that discipline is everything when I do it every time.